What is going on, folks? DSP here. It is actually around mid-April 2017. It's April 13th today, actually. And what I wanted to do was to attempt to populate my gaming schedule calendar yet again with all the new upcoming releases and or events that I'm aware of that I'll be participating in and or covering, so that you know what to expect on, my streaming channel on Twitch TV and also on my YouTube channel DSP Gaming for the next, third of the year or so. I hadn't actually updated my calendar since January. So I literally had nothing for April, May, June, July, nothing, and people kept asking me for the next past couple of weeks, Phil, will you be playing this? Phil, will you be trying that? Phil, what's going on during the summer? Phil, what's this, what's that? And I really didn't have any answers for them because I just was so busy with all the new games and stuff, I didn't have a chance to go through and do a schedule update, all right? So what I'm about to do is go through the rest of April, May, June, July, August, even a couple into September here, all right? I'm going to tell you what games are coming out and what games I'm interested in. A couple things before we start, because I always get these questions. Number one, no, this is not set in stone. This could change at any time. There may be games that I drop, or there may be games that I add as new game release dates are in here or as things change. Number two, I try to only put things on this calendar that actually have solid release dates. If there's a game that's scheduled for spring or summer or late or quarter three, I don't put it on the calendar, because the bottom line is if I don't know when it's out, there's no reason to even start thinking about, this is what I'm going to be doing. For example, one of the best examples of that would be South Park, The Fractured But Whole, which was supposed to come out last year, got delayed, was supposed to come out sometime in the first quarter, got delayed again, and now no one has any idea when it's coming out. Yeah, that's the deal. I will see what happens with that, but that's an example of a game I'm definitely playing, but it has to have a release date first, alright? So let's go through it. Let's start with April. As you see, this month already we've had big heavy hitters like Persona 5, like Yooka-Laylee. Today's the 13th, and next week I'll be doing Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what that stands for. They're on April 18th. And then my next episode of Ask the King, my Q&A show, will be on the 20th. Just to clarify for everyone, I haven't done one in a long time. It was actually late January when I last did an episode, so that'll be good because it's been months since I did one, and I know people have lots of questions saved up. Outlast 2, coming out on April 25th. Very excited for that. I loved the first game and its DLC expansion, and I can't wait for this one. And then there's this other game called Little Nightmares that I might or might not play. It's an interesting kind of action-y platformer kind of a deal with a little bit of almost a macabre twist to it, to the plot and the design of it. I'm not saying 100% I'm doing it, I'm just saying it's a possibility, so I threw it on there because it did catch my interest. Now, one game that was originally supposed to come out earlier in the month was Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Apparently now it's also coming out around the end of the month. I don't want to say I'm definitely doing it, simply because there's a lot going on between me finishing up all my playthroughs right now. For example, I'm still playing Mass Effect, I'm still playing Persona 5, I'm still playing Danganronpa, I'm still playing Yooka-Laylee, and by the time Outlast 2 hits, I have to see what's left in order to say, can I also do Outlast 2 and, Sniper, or is that one I'm going to skip? I'm not sure. So more info regarding if I'll play Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 as we approach the end of the month, alright? Moving into May, alright? So big announcement here. What I'm planning to do probably May 1st, I'm thinking, I'm going to do my worst games ever marathon. This was the result of a Patreon goal that was set up in the month of February 2017. We hit the funding goal, and because of that, I'm going to do a marathon day, around 6 to 7 hours worth of gameplay. There was a poll going on throughout the month of March, and we have the results, ladies and gentlemen. The results are the 3 games I'll be playing, 3 games during that marathon. Number 1, Scarface. Yeah, Scarface made it in. People want to see me try to finish the game, so we'll see. Number 2, Revolution 60. If you don't know what that game is, look it up. There's tons of controversy all over the internet. People saying it's one of the worst games ever made, in particular because it's made by an SJW. And then last but not least, the game that won the poll overwhelmingly, Ride to Hell Retribution. And I actually, right over here, I have that already. I already pre-purchased it because I had anticipation that it was probably going to win. And so here it is. And in particular, I also bought Mind Jack. That was in the poll, but it lost. But now I have it if I want to do a future playthrough of it. I also voted as one of the worst games ever made, okay? So Ride to Hell Retribution. So that is going to be an awesome marathon, in my opinion. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, all right? So that's going to either be May 1st or approximately early May, but I'm pretty tentatively for May 1st. May 2nd, the first major Neo DLC releases. Apparently it's one where you're fighting a giant one-eyed dragon, and there's some new stages and new enemies and all kinds of stuff, new weapon. Apparently it's also supposed to introduce the first PvP to the game. So that's kind of interesting, and we'll see how that goes. So that's the second, so I'll probably be playing that, I'm assuming, for a few days. Prey, another survival horror style game with a sci-fi element, releasing on the 5th, that Friday. I'm excited for that. That's going to be crazy because we're going to have the week before Outlast and the week after Prey. It's going to be like Survival Horror City, so that could be interesting. Strafe, this is an indie first-person shooter that apparently is trying to implement some crazy-ass chaotic style gameplay into a first-person shooter. I'm interested in it. I'm not necessarily 100% committing to it, but I was interested, so I put it here on my calendar. Now, in my opinion, the biggest game of all of May is going to be Injustice 2. We've all been waiting for this for years. I played Injustice 1 years ago from NetherRealm, absolutely loved it. Loved the story mode, loved all the different modes and content that was in the game, played the living hell out of it, and that was a game that really had mileage that year. What was that, 2013? Yeah, 2013, so 4 years ago. Injustice was an awesome game. I played the beta of Injustice 2, it seems really good. So I'm very excited for Injustice 2. I'll be covering all the modes, including story mode and whatever other optional modes are in there. There's always a ton of single player content in NetherRealm games, but also then I'll be going online extensively, trying out all the different characters. So you can expect, around this time, these 2 weeks, very heavy coverage of Injustice 2. Just to warn everyone, very heavy coverage of Injustice 2 leading into later in the month. Now there's also this game called Farpoint, which I guess is supposed to be this game where you're stranded on like a planet. You don't know if it's inhabited or not. I guess it's supposed to be like a sci-fi epic adventure. I'm interested in it. I'm not committing to it, but I put it on there. It kind of sucks. It's the same day as Injustice, because I know I'm going to be super busy with Injustice, but maybe after a few days of Injustice, if I get bored of just doing that, I can start balancing it with Farpoint, I guess. I guess we'll see, okay? Much later in May 26th, there's 2 games to be releasing. One's called Get Even. It's supposed to be this game that has single and multiplayer ingrained. It's a shooter. I couldn't figure out too much about it, but it looked kind of interesting. It, you know, at least got a little bit of my interest, so I put that on here. I don't know if I'll be playing it. The one game, sadly, it looks like I'm not going to be playing. Ultra Street Fighter 4, The Final Challengers. If you're not aware, this is a version of, excuse me, I said Street Fighter 4, I meant to say Street Fighter 2. Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers. So if you're not aware what this is the Nintendo Switch exclusive version of Street Fighter 2 that basically takes the gameplay and graphics of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix from, 10 freaking years ago, and it converts it into a more modern game. Supposedly they tweaked the gameplay engine, add a couple new characters. I really wanted to play it. I bought a freaking Switch. Guess what? My Switch bricked, and there's no Switches available. So unless a miracle happens, and between now and May 26th, a Switch appears and I can buy one, sadly it looks like I won't be playing that game. It's going to get passed by. But if you want my honest opinion, here's the truth. I would probably be one of the best people playing it because I was really good at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but how many people realistically, competitive fighting game players, bought a Switch and are going to be playing this game hardcore? Probably not a hell of a lot. So honestly, I don't think it's going to be a game that has a lot of competition, and it's probably going to end up fizzling out really quickly, in my opinion, in particular because most people who are into competitive fighting games are going to be playing Injustice 2, and then within a week or so, so we'll talk about that in a moment, but I really don't think that this is going to be a big deal to skip. Although again, if I get luck out and I somehow find a Switch between now and then, I'll play it, okay? Star Trek VR, it's actually called Star Trek Bridge Crew now, is coming out on the 30th of May. This is the virtual reality game of Star Trek, and I am a fan of Star Trek. I love Star Trek The Next Generation as well as Deep Space Nine. And I like the original series to some extent, but I definitely think The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine were where the series hit its stride. So this is a VR game where you are on the bridge of the Enterprise, and since I have PlayStation VR over here in its box right now, collecting actually, it's on the floor. Oh shit, I never put it away. Oops. Well, anyway, since I have PSVR, I might as well take advantage of it, right? And play Star Trek VR. So that's something I'm looking forward to, an actual VR playthrough. Now, one thing I put here at the end of May, the Patrons Jackbox event, because for the month of March, if we hit the funding goal, okay, I was going to do a multiplayer event with the patrons, and we did hit the goal. Right now, during April, I'm actually gathering all the information from the March patrons, and soon people will have forum upgrades and everything, and start posting up their availability and what games they want to play. So sometime in May, I'm also going to be holding this special event, a day-long event, 6 to 7 hours, where I'm playing the games from Jackbox like Quiplash, Guespionage, Trivia Murder Party, Fibbage. I'll be playing those games with the patrons who pledge in March, okay? So that'll be a fun day coming up. So that's roughly May. There may be more, there may be less, but as you see, there's a lot. June, not so much. Let's talk a little bit about June. First of all, Patron's Choice begins. The reason I put that on there is because right now in the month of April, if you pledge to my Patreon $5 or more, and if we hit the funding goal for the month, there's going to be a new Patron's Choice event throughout the month of May where those people who pledged are going to be able to nominate and vote on a new game for me to do as a playthrough. So that's going to be one thing that starts sometime in June, is the Patron's Choice playthrough if we hit the funding for April, okay? On the 2nd of June, we've got Tekken 7. We've got E3 week in the middle of June this year, and typically around E3 week there's a bunch of games that release that are usually unannounced previously, meaning we know that they're in development but we have no idea when they're going to come out, and then all of a sudden they just boom, they'll all release E3 week. This has happened in the past like 3-4 years. Every year during E3 week we get surprise releases, so I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get some surprise game releases that week of E3 2017, if not some fun demos and things that people definitely want to see, okay? At the end of the month, this is confusing. I found conflicting information on the internet. For those who've been watching my Danganronpa playthrough and you really like it, you may not be aware there's a spin-off game called Danganronpa, another episode, that's supposed to be coming out either June 27th or July 27th, but I can't get confirmation. I went to 4 different websites, and 2 said one day and 2 said the other, so I have no idea which one to believe. What this is, it's supposed to be I don't know if it's actually in congruence with the mainstream plotline of the Danganronpa games, but basically it's kind of a what-if scenario where Monokumas, those little robot bears, have taken over the city, and it's actually supposed to be like an on-rail shooter where you're shooting Monokumas and stuff. Sounds like it could be pretty insane. So I'm actually interested in maybe playing that, but I don't know when the hell it comes out, alright? At the end of June, supposedly the Crash Bandicoot HD Trilogy is releasing. Now, recently in the past couple of years, I've actually played Crash 1 and 2, but I did not play Crash 3. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get this collection and I'll play Crash 3. I really doubt I would go back and play Crash 1 and 2 since supposedly they're exactly the same games, only they're remade in HD graphics. So we'll see about that, but people have been asking me to play Crash 3, and I said, why would I do that when I know this is coming out and everyone's going to want to see the more modernized version of it, okay? Now, one thing you may say here is, Phil, wow, that month of June looks pretty empty. That is true, but there's a few things you have to realize. Number one, a game like Tekken 7, it's going to take a lot of time to cover because I have to play through all the different modes, go online, play with different characters, etc. That's going to be a game that's going to take a while to cover, okay? Number two, like I said, around E3, typically, we've got stuff that comes out that's unannounced. In addition to all of that, there's a DLC for Resident Evil 7 called Not a Hero. It's supposed to star Chris Redfield, and supposedly the rumor is people are thinking it might come out around this time frame to coincide with the big hype around E3. So there's a strong chance that that could actually come out around that time, and if it does, I will definitely be playing that, okay? So, what else? I believe... I don't think there's anything else for June. I'm looking at my list right now. I'm looking below me. There's nothing else for June. Let's move on to July. Now, of course, keep in mind, now we're moving a full 1, 2, 3 months ahead, and now it starts to get really sketchy. In particular, the summer months get very sketchy with game releases because, first of all, not a lot of companies like to release games during the summer for whatever reason. I guess they think it's a time when no one buys games, when in reality, it's a time when a lot of kids are off school and would fucking buy games, but the game developers are just stupid. I shouldn't even say that. The game publishers are stupid because they don't actually do market research to find out that kids want to play games during the summer. I know for a fact because I've been doing this for fucking 8+ years, and I know better because I'm in line with these customers, but apparently the game publishers are not. But anyway, I digress. July, a pretty dead month as you can see. The only games that really caught my eye and interested me, there's this game called Yonder. It's an open world wandering action RPG. It kind of reminds me of Zelda Breath of the Wild, honestly. And they said there's 8 different locations that have 8 completely different climates, a la Breath of the Wild, get it? So it looks pretty good and I may play it. Splatoon 2 comes out on July 21st. Certainly I'd like to play it, Problem being, again, if I can't find a Nintendo Switch, much like with Ultra Street Fighter 2, if I can't get a Nintendo Switch by July, I can't play it, and it's not my fault. I bought one and it fucking bricked on me because Nintendo made a piece of shit console. I don't know what else to say. It sucks. It's a shitty situation where normally I would have all the new equipment and consoles for my business, and I don't have it now because they fucked me basically. So that being said, if I could get one, great. If not, I guess I'm not playing Splatoon 2. And then again, I had that Danganronpa another episode because I don't know when it actually comes out. Now, I have some ideas for the summer, things that I think I would like to do, all right, that may pique people's interest. Here's a couple ideas that I've had, all right? Let's see how people, well, I'm curious how people will react in the comments and stuff about this. Number one, how about a redemption run of Dark Souls 2, now with the newly remastered 60 frames per second version that they sell on PS4, where I do not use the lightning cheese. Because if you remember when I played Dark Souls 2, I just happened to come upon a build for my character using lightning magic that ended up making me OP. And I ran through literally like the second half of the game, just destroying absolutely fucking everything in the game with no issue whatsoever because my lightning magic was so overpowered. I really didn't learn the ins and outs of that game. I really just kind of cheesed the fuck out of it. And honestly, of all the Dark Souls games that I played, you know, now that I've already replayed part 1, part 2 might be what I want to go back to, especially because, again, better graphics, more frames per second. I think it would be a good run to go through and play that game again and beat it legit, instead of cheesing the shit out of it like I did that first time. That's one idea I have for the summer. Another idea I have is maybe a couple retro games. For example, I've really wanted to play Final Fantasy IV for a while now, and I even have it. I own it on the 3DS. It's over there in my stack of shit, and I haven't had a chance to play it. So maybe that would be a chance to play a game like Final Fantasy IV, alright? In addition to that, listen, I know that a ton of people have asked for me to go back to the Bloodborne, whatever the fuck the name of it, Hunter's DLC is. There's no way I'm going back and replaying Bloodborne from start to finish. However, I have been offered from someone who is a fan of mine to borrow their PlayStation Network account for the summer for when I want to play it, and he said they've already got basically have a character build that they played the game up to the point where the Hunter's DLC starts, and they'd be willing to lend me this account if I wanted to do a run through and really make an honest attempt at trying to beat that old Hunter's DLC that I basically played for like 2 days and said fuck this and never played again, you know, in late 2015. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do an old Hunters, try it again, actually try to beat it, especially now that I know the game's better, right? Now I actually, I've played Dark Souls 1 legit. I played Neo recently. I just played the Dark Souls 3 final DLC. People are saying I'm much better now than I was, so maybe I'll be able to beat it legit. I don't know, but I consider doing that during the summer as well. So that's just a few ideas I have for the dead time of July. I know it looks like there's a ton. That could be some great ideas that I have for the dead time of July, okay? Moving on to August, it will not be nearly as dead because August is when the hardcore gaming season begins now, which is funny because it used to always be mid to late September. Now it starts in August. So there's nothing really those first 2 weeks of August, but if you take a look, the middle of August, there's a game called Agents of Mayhem. You might say, what the hell is that? This is the new game from the people who make Saints Row. They basically have stopped making Saints Row now. They've had enough. They're making a brand new franchise called Agents of Mayhem. And the graphics look very similar to Saints Row. The gameplay, kind of similar. It's kind of a game in the same kind of vein of the nonsensical, adult-rated fun of Saints Row, only it's a totally new franchise. I'm very excited to check this out because I am a big fan of Saints Row 2, 3, and 4, and it's a shame that those games have been gone for so long. So that could be pretty neat. On the 22nd, we've got Middle-earth, Shadows of War, and the standalone Uncharted 4 story, both coming out the same day. That's going to be a crazy good week, okay? And then at the end of the month, Yakuza Kiwami. If you don't know what this is, they've remade Yakuza, the original Yakuza 1, for modern audiences. They updated the graphics, they apparently updated the gameplay. It's going to be a whole remake of the first Yakuza, which I never played. I definitely want to play it, but knowing how long Yakuza games are, again, this is not what I'm going to commit to, but I'll tell you I'm very interested in it, and I may play it, if not then, at a future date. And then outside of that, the only other games that have release dates right now for this year, September 2nd, Destiny 2. I am really on the fucking fence about this one because Destiny 1 I hated. I thought the game was incredibly a ripoff. It literally ripped ideas from every other franchise and slapped it together. It didn't feel like an original game. It certainly felt repetitive, grindy, and like a piece of crap that wasn't worth $60. Now, other people told me they stuck with the game, and later on when they got to the end game content after like 50 hours of fucking bullshit, or if they spent more money to buy the Fallen King or Taken King or whatever the fuck it was called DLC, the game got a lot better. Maybe they'll take those implementations that they made the game better and put them into Destiny 2, or maybe they'll pull a Destiny 1 again and give you a bare bones, grinding, boring piece of crap that is garbage at launch, and you have to play it for 6+ months to get to anything good, or buy an expansion for it to be better. I don't know. I'm on the fence about giving Destiny 2 a second chance because Destiny 1, it's like fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And I really don't know if Bungie deserves my money, honestly. But I'm going to think about it, and I'll also, listen to fan feedback, your input, and we'll see what people say and go from there as it gets closer to release. The only other game, Danganronpa V3. That's right, the third game in the Danganronpa series. I put it on this calendar because I'm interested in playing it. In fact, the game makers of it contacted me. NIS America contacted me and actually thanked me because right now I'm doing a playthrough of Danganronpa. They said, thank you for the exposure. Would you like a free copy of maybe Danganronpa 3 and other future games from us? And I said, sure. I'd be very interested. So, I registered with them and I'm hoping to get more information on that in the future. But I said, but what's going to happen with Danganronpa 3? And they said, well, sorry to say, Phil, when the game comes out, you can maybe play the first chapter and that's it. Because after that, they're Spike Chunsoft is the name of the game developer. They're very, very afraid of story spoilers because their game is 100% story, honestly. There's almost no gameplay in it. And they're afraid that if everyone just puts the game out within a week, no one will buy it. So, yeah, I may be able to play Danganronpa 3 for like a day or two, but as soon as we get past the intro, they're basically saying it's a no-go, you're not going to be able to do a playthrough for months. So that kind of sucks, but hey, I guess that's life. Especially, of all the games that I've ever played, this is the one game I can't blame. The game is like 100% story, right? So I kind of understand the perspective that they're coming from. A lot of other games out there, not so much. Danganronpa I can kind of understand, all right? So that is the rough schedule for the next few months. Some great survival horror and that style of games coming out in early, late April, early May, along with the Neo DLC. Injustice 2 is going to blow it up in mid-May. I'm absolutely sure of it. We're going to have Tekken 7 in early June. We're going to have E3 hype all throughout mid-June. Heading into the summer when I've got some downtime stuff planned for you, whether it's Dark Souls 2 or Final Fantasy 4 or the return to Bloodborne, we'll see. And then, August already is going to be a really exciting August. So I'm pretty excited. I hope you're excited for the rest of the year as well. I hope that you found this video informative. If you feel that I've glossed over or skipped any major games that have set release dates, feel free in the comments of this video to let me know. I am more than happy to add that to my gaming calendar, but I need to know if it has a solid release date. And from what I saw, I didn't really see many other games that had solid release dates this year that I was interested in. Therefore, that's the deal. That's what we got for now, all right? Thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. Peace out. See you later.